This episode is sponsored by Supreme of the UK. Click the link in the description and support the podcast. Quote CFR at the checkout and receive 10% discount on your order.
You're now listening to A-Rod Music.
They don't believe they'll ever see it clean me. I'm thinking, why the fuck all my chicks leave me? Something's wrong with me, something's wrong with me. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. All I know is I'm so fucking weak. Can't even go a day, let alone a week without a fucking drink. And a few types of narcotics. What you on? What the fuck you think? I got a habit to all the poppin' Xanax bars, Vicodin and a Adderall, just to have a ball, especially when I'm rapping. I've been to a dark room and I'm conscious of it, but I feel like I'm trapped in. And if I can sing this shit for any longer, my nigga, who knows what the fuck's gonna happen? I got kids raising this hellhole. I don't want them living without daddy. I'm living life with no fear, but I feel I'm doing it the wrong way. I know in the end I'm gonna play if I out there in the hospital. What my people gon' say? You such a fucking disappointment, but I'm a product of their misconduct. No birth control, no condom. 9 months later, you got a problem, but they stepped up to the plate. Now it's up to me to profit, learn from the mistakes I make, so I could be more prosperous. Man, I think I turned out straight, but I'm struggling with myself. That's why I get high to escape discouraging thoughts. Cause when I'm sober, sometimes I find myself feeling discouraged and lost. But I'm through paying that cost, cause I know that I have more courage than most, and I know that I gotta slow down in the dope. Pick up the pace on my dream and blow. Atomic style, take them thoughts and jot them down. Spit that real, lock it down. Take that throne, rock that crowd. Hit that stage and rock that crown. That makes me feel good. This world is bad, man, and I just wanna feel good. Sometimes I'm a madman, and I just wanna feel good. All life in the sand, man, I just wanna feel good. I grab me a bag, man, cause I just wanna feel good. I just wanna feel good. I just wanna feel good. Right now I feel good. How good? Real good. Right now recording this music is what I do, and it makes me feel good. I represent a real hood. Circle, Shot-Town. If you were paid not to hate on me for a nigga, I bet you still would, cause I guess that makes you feel good. I'm a real nigga, I ain't gon' lie. I wanna be in a nice crib and I wanna be gripping grain, nigga, real wood. That vision makes me feel good. Yeah, real good. That vision makes me feel good. Real good. If you're not scared to die for what's right, yeah, that makes me feel good. It'll be a time where we'll all have to fight, and that makes me feel good. Cause that'll be the time we all will unite, and that makes me feel good. And right now I'm on another planet tonight, yeah, that means I feel good. I'ma be walking the ring of Saturn, drinking Hennessy, smoking that fatty, thinking about life and really what matters. I can see the day when my pockets fatter, my vision has come alive. That makes me feel good. This world is bad, man, and I just wanna feel good. Sometimes I'm a madman, and I just wanna feel good. I don't like feeling sad, man, I just wanna feel good. Grab me a bag, man, cause I just wanna feel good. Grab a hold of my kids, cause yeah, that makes me feel good.
So you're wearing big coats, and the kind of food supports the weather.
Yes.
Whereas if you think you're living in a hot place, you ain't gonna be eating like that. See what I'm saying? So what you saying, old man? How's your week?
Another busy one, man. I'm saying this every week, and it's getting busier and busier. I'm just preparing to, take that long haul flight real soon. You heard me, so I can get that, as you've mentioned, some of that West Indies, Caribbean weather, culture, climate, and most definitely some of that food, man. Some fresh coconut water with the jelly. Come on, man.
Well, I know you soon touchdown, man. I know you're definitely ready for that.
Man's on the countdown, man. Man's on the countdown. 2019. Pardon?
You good to go?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty much. Currency landed today. I was expecting it to come on Monday, so we got the the spending stuff all prepared. I just need to go into the wardrobe and figure out what I'm actually bringing this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're there, man. You know what though? This what I'm not too keen on of sorts. You can't fly from Gatwick no more. So I'm having to use Heathrow damn airport. I ain't flown from there since like 92 or something like that. So it's gonna be a very different experience. I'm used to just traveling down, stopping overnight at my favorite hotel. I ain't gonna give them no branding or nothing. And then park the something, get on the little hopper and all that something. It's just so familiar flying from Gatwick, but now for 2023, it's gonna be a Heathrow thing.
It's mad that you like Gatwick, because you know what? I hate flying from Gatwick. The facilities are beautiful.
Yes.
The actual place is beautiful but it's so far.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that drive to Gatwick, it feels like it never ends. Like, when you're passing Heathrow, like the drive to Gatwick feels like it never ever ends. And no matter what time the flight is, when you're traveling to Gatwick, there's always traffic.
M25.
Always traffic, even if it's the last half an hour.
Yep.
I remember one time, I was going to New York. This is in 2014. I was going to New York, and I had to send some orders out with, at the time, what's called Hermes.
Yes.
Hermes.
Yes.
I had about 6 orders to send out. So the day before, I'm like, I'm so tired. I'll do all that tomorrow. So just on the way down, I've got plenty of time. I'm like, I'll just stop at a Hermes somewhere local.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, almost missed the flight, Noble. Almost missed the flight. Like, the traffic was crazy. And I knew I had to send them orders, because if I didn't, that would be 6 people.
Yes.
So I said, nah, let me get them out. Got it dealt with, man. So that's why I don't like Gatwick. But I know there's only certain countries you can get to from Gatwick.
Yes.
Direct. Like, I know a lot of American flights. You can damn near fly anywhere direct in America from Gatwick, And people don't understand. That is important.
Them layovers and stupid stuff.
That direct flight to somewhere in America is very, very important. People, trust me, especially on a business level.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to just fly direct to anywhere in America, like, that's proper. And I know they're doing more, so So you fly direct to Barbados?
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's only one time, sibling. Generally, it's direct. I think one time I flew via Tobago. I don't know how they made that route still. All the way down Tobago near Trinity, which is below Barbados and all that. Drop off passengers. I don't think, did they pick anyone up as well? I think they even probably picked somebody up as well. And then to Barbados. It didn't make no sense, but yeah,
that's mad. But it's funny because let's get into this. So there was no Express Truth Thursday just gone, and that's down to me 100%. Voice went and all of that. But the week before, the episode that we had done was about Philip Schofield, obviously, and then we started off talking about Vibes Cartel,
mm-hmm.
and then it went into the current state of dancehall. Anyway, this opened up a can of worms, because this is why I said the internet's a crazy place, because that had a lot of shares. So even though its normal view count, it had a lot of shares, and a lot of the clips got shared around. So even like Big Up Major Thing, he posted one of the clips from the show. So a lot of people was able to see it, and a couple people reached out and were just like enlightening me on the actual situation with the dancehall genre. So they were like, yo, dancehall is still doing what it needs to do, but it's just not coming from the island of Jamaica. So I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, it's just not. There's still people doing that kind of dancehall you're talking about, but just not in Yard, because Yard are following states now. Whereas there's still other islands that are singing about the island life. So my man sent me the first artist that I started to look at was a guy called Byron Missia. Byron Missia. He's got the hottest song right now called Taliban's. You heard it, Noble? Yeah, so it's like it's an Afrobeat song, but
yes,
the subject matters dancehall.
Indeed.
So my man was showing, saying, yo, these man here, they're doing their thing. And then it led me to the island of Trinidad.
Yes.
an individual called Prince Swanee. And then when I started to check it, those islands suffer with the same sickness
Yeah.
that Jamaica suffers with, because this Trinidad movement, yeah, it's a whole it's a whole nother world, you know.
Yeah, man.
They're calling it baby Mexico out there. And I'm just like, damn, like I've already watched like couple things and stuff from down there, and I'm saying, yo, down there they're moving mad. But that's where they've got a thing called Trinidad. That's what they label their dancehall, and they're doing their thing down there still. They're doing their thing proper. So what's it like in Barbados then? Is that still like soca driven or calypso driven?
Soca driven, but dancehall and roots is definitely very closely following that there. Most of the islands, to be fair, it's the same thing. Calypso soca is generally at the top, unless you go to the more obscure islands, and they'll have their own kind of blend of a soca, dancehall, or something else, and they'll call it palenque. I think they call it a thing. But that's generally the thing. There's still soca and calypso is still a very, very big thing, man. I didn't realize how big it was until I touched down on the place and I'm hearing the tunes them getting jammed, but at the same time, dancehall is always still there. The roots and the reggae is definitely still there. And you know you got rats on every island as well. Whether them have them locks or whether they don't have locks, because don't get it twisted, people. You don't need to have locks to be a ras.
That's true. You don't you don't have to dread to rasta. It's not a dreadlocks thing. You know that song?
Yes, I was just saying simply. I was jamming that yesterday while I was painting the fence. Come on.
yeah, that's Morgan heritage, but okay, it's nothing what it was before. Nothing. I even think, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Yeah, I think it's a shell of its former self. The music is terrible right now, Noble. It's terrible.
It's degrading.
It's degrading. It's violent. It's they've got no identity, and this is what I'm saying. One man done that, and I know people might say, I don't think he meant to do that, but one man changed the direction and the message in music coming from the island of Jamaica. One man did that, and that man's Vibes Cartel. Because my man, before I start, I'll say the facts. My man is one of the most lyrical artists under the sun.
Yeah, man.
That's a fact. Like, no one can't. His lyrics and delivery is second to none. But he was a fan of hip hop, a massive fan of hip hop, to the point where if you look at earlier Vibes Cartel imagery and stuff, he's almost a dead stamp of that era of hip hop.
Yeah.
The clothing, the tattoos, all of that. That comes from hip hop now. Because hip hop and dancehall have always been my main genres. That, like, at different stages of my life, it could be dancehall that's leading the forefront. Then it could be hip hop that's leading the forefront. But I usually know what's going on in both. Not so much anymore with dancehall, because it's a big no for me right now, but definitely back then. And when you look at the Little Waynes of the world and stuff, they had brought in an all-out, anything goes type of music, where man were talking about things that hadn't had previously been so blatant in the music.
Mark, just to add to that, on a mainstream and commercial level, because if we go back well before Weezy was even in existence on this plane, we got Two Life Crew, Luke Skywalker.
Facts.
I grew up listening to that. I had every single Two Life Crew, Luke Skywalker album out there as nasty as they want to be. Part 1, Part 2, Sports Weekend, all out there. And I'm talking. I'm first year in secondary school. I couldn't listen to that when my mum was at home.
Yeah.
We're talking blatant sexual rap. But it was especially over here. No one was really messing with Two Live Crew over here. They had, obviously success over in America and other countries to a point, but it wasn't a commercial like, yes, this is going on top of the pops, Luke Skywalker with his booty dancing gal. So that's the switch there. This thing is, remember, not new under the sun. Nothing
Facts.
new under the sun. But what people did, they saw wait a minute. So we can, outside of the gun talk and all that, let's just destroy them even further, man. Let's promote this thing, boss. Let's make it so this is blasted in cars, it's on radio.
It is. I remember, well, I'm not going to say I remember Two Live Crew. Luke, I know about Luke, and I'll tell you why. I found a video one time, and this video was a video of the mad parties they used to put on.
Yes.
I wasn't supposed to have my hands on that video, but I ended up seeing it. Now, what I'll say with that is, yes, in dancehall and in rap, there's always been an element of X-rated content. However, that content's never been at the forefront, and that content's never been commercialized. If a man was talking like that, it would be, a man would suggest that in his music, but it was nothing blatant.
Yes.
Now, you'd even have clean and dirty versions. To some point, you'd hear the dirty version and be like, right, I didn't even know it was saying this. But what's happened now is, with that influence that Vybz Kartel had taken from the States, with their era of just going crazy, talking about sex and stuff like that, he started to do that. Now, that younger generation who was still in school, artists like Skilly Bang and that, my man was still in school when Cartel was bubbling. Now, you got to think that was their inspiration.
And influence.
Inspiration and influence. So you got to think artists like Gage, who he just made a song called "Down in Your Throat." You heard it?
I think I know the one you're referring to. I didn't know that the artist's name still.
His name's Gage. He's got a song called "Down in Your Throat." Now, that content has always been there, always, but it was never at the forefront, and that's what ruined dancehall. And I think what had happened was that island life, because you got to think, you got rebels coming from America around this time. When I say, like, with all that civil rights movement, all of that, the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King's, Pump Your Black Fist, Public Enemy, all of that, they were fighting the system. Then you had Yard, who were doing that too. So you had the Americans, and then you got the Jamaicans, who their music was a tool from all the way back from all the way back to Bob Marley. The music was a tool. It was a tool of upliftment.
Yes.
It was a tool of enjoyment. It was a powerful tool. When that tool stopped being about upliftment and more about enjoyment, that's when the music died. So now, while that music was just, the leaders of that music were trying to sound like Drake. Let's keep it real. The most popular artists in the music were too concerned with running behind Drake. The era I come from, man didn't care who reached out. There was a scene in the Wu-Tang series where it's showing ODB around the time when Mariah wanted him on a song. And the manager comes to ODB and says, yo, Mariah wants you on this song. What you saying? Mama was like, nah, I don't want to do it. He's like, yo, this is Mariah. She's the biggest artist. Yo, she's got smash hits. Mama was like, I just told you I don't want to do it. That's how artists like that always go far. Stubborn artists.
Yeah.
They always go far. So Jamaican artists started running behind Drake, so Popcorn, Man's just wanted that Drake cosign. Man's weren't concerned with being the leader of their music.
Their team. Yeah.
Man wanted to cross market. While that was going on, Afro beats was slowly building. Now, I'm not saying it ain't been around from time, none of that. But it was
Educate me then, sibling,
Okay.
because obviously this is a newer era, and I don't necessarily
Yeah.
keep up. So when would you say the Afrobeat started? Because as far as I'm aware, it's a couple years old, man. Like no more than 5 years old.
No. So there's always been an African presence in music. So if you go South Africa right now, that's a world within this world.
Mhm.
They've got artists in South Africa that are multimillionaires, don't never have to leave.
Yeah.
2 million followers on Instagram, don't never have to leave South Africa.
Mm.
There's always been an element of African music, depending on what nation you're dealing with. But
would you class that as an Afro beats? Because obviously you got the Malawi rap, as you say, Malawi style music, Congolese style music, Nigerian style. Everyone has got their own flavor, but this Afro beats thing to me seems like a melodic mix with kind of bashmenty dancehall kind of songs with their sounds, their kind of sound that they've kind of imprinted on it.
It's called it's a commercial sound. So they brought that sound into today's world. So you gotta think that style, that sound, they made it work in today's world. So there was an artist called Lucky Dube from back in the day. Lucky Dube came to Brum. Yeah, you might not have heard of him, but he's massive. This Lucky Dube came to Brum, and an African promoter came and linked me, my dad, and my uncle. And he's like, yo, I'm doing a show. And this is like before tickets were big on the internet and all that. Like, yo, I'm doing a show. He's like, yo, can you sell the tickets from your establishment? So we're like, cool, no problem. But we're thinking, no one knows this artist. No, but from we put the tickets in the shop, I've never seen so much African people come into that shop in 1 week.
Yes.
I'm talking about mans were coming. Like, I was like, who's this artist? Now, my man sold at a big boy venue with predominantly African people. Now, I remember at the time saying to my uncle, if these men can get this to work in the West World, they've gone clear,
Of course, yes.
But the music was just, at the time, it weren't there yet. It wasn't what it is now. Even though my man, they rate my man as a legend in that world, but outside of that world, he didn't quite make it like that yet. I know he's passed now. Afro beats have done that. They brought it into this world. But what it is while y'all don't have no identity, dancehall has zero identity. Afro beats has identity. Dancehall are talking about killing man, shooting man.
Yeah.
Taking their thing and ramming it in girls' hole and rare. Afro beats, man are talking about heartbreak, love. Half the time you don't understand what a man's saying.
I know.
But it sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why that music is at the forefront today. That's why the top artists in that world are selling out venues and selling out arenas and doing all of this, because good music will always work.
Yeah, man.
Go through, Noble, go through.
That's 1005. It's having the ability. I mean, and all of these, I'll say all of these artists, they're talented enough to be able to create, so they're creatives. Now, the problem here lies, as of the last, let's say, 10 years or so, is the direction. We've kind of devolved into this pornographic, nasty music, where, and as Marx has highlighted, that's at the forefront. That should not be a representation of dancehall in Jamaica. That should be, you got Yeah, they do their thing. Oh, you also got some mans who, they're a bit slack still, as you've always had.
Mm.
They've totally flipped it, man. They've turned it upside down and said, yeah, man, slackness or run. Slackness or run. But the question is, Mark, how did how did we get to that point? You've highlighted vibes and his influence, reference rap and all that.
Mm.
So he's only the person who is making the music. How did it get out there like that?
Okay, very good question, Noble. Wonderful question. What had happened was this: social media helped ruin it too, because social media, you're able to take a picture, yeah, or a video, and at the click of a button, 1 million people can see that.
Mm.
So, two things. First of all, that's what was running the wave on social media. That type of music. That's what social media promote. Because obviously shock value content is the content that gets the clicks. That's how we are as humans. If you're driving and you see a man helping an old lady across the road, and then you look to the other side and there's a car crash, what are you going to look at?
Yeah.
You're going to look at the car crash. That's the same with everything else. That's where it happened. So what started to happen is people started to go into the studio, and instead of saying, yo, I'm going to make a song that, my grandchildren can grow up listening to. Like when artists used to go in the studio back in the day, they went in the studio making generational music. In today's world, it's about making music for a summer. It's about making music for a summer. Yo, I want to have the summer. That music will not play after that. It will not play after that because it's short-term music. Now, the second part of the answer is this. Of course, the labels. You got to remember, when there's so much music that promotes all kind of negative stuff, it definitely has an influence on you. It doesn't matter what anyone wants to say. If you consume that type of content, if you're listening to content where a man's talking about the constant mistreating of a woman or the constant, because man ain't talking about love stuff. Man are talking about making girl ball and all them kind of things. Now, when that kind of content's out there, you got to think how that affects certain youngsters. So if a man's listening, you got to think, if you're listening to Jagged Edge, if you're in your car listening to Jagged Edge, you're driving 2 hours to go meet a girl. So you're driving 2 hours, yeah, to go and meet a girl the first time you've ever met. You throw the Jagged Edge in and listen to it the whole journey. A man talking about, under the pale moonlight and, this, how the man go on.
Yeah, man. I love thing them at top, Reggie.
So for 2 hours down on that drive, you're listening to Jagged Edge. And then you might throw in Boys to Men after, where a man's just talking about how he loves a woman and how, even when they do have sex, he's talking about rubbing her and taking his
caressing.
time.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, on the opposite side, you throw in a CD where for 2 hours, man are just talking about, yo, girl, if you take all down, yo, girl, if you suck all down, how do you think when you go into that link, which music, what mood are you going to be in, depending on what you were listening to? Of
course.
Depending on what you were listening to. Now, the same things happened on the mainstream level. The same things happen to where the promotion of that type of stuff, which used to be 10, 15, 20%, that's now 85%. So then when you really look now from the 70s which, you know, was a long time ago, to right now. And you look at the black family coming from the Caribbean, and you got to ask, a lot of us will say, what went wrong? Music played a part in that. It doesn't matter what no one wants to say, music played a massive part in ruining that too, because a boy, that galley stage is being forced onto enough man too.
Yeah.
To think that's what you're supposed to do, that's how you're supposed to live.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying man can't be man at times, you know.
No, young adults, man, because from when you become a man, you shouldn't be dealing with them kind of something there.
I feel that 1,000. But it's like, man, that type of music helped put a certain mindset. You know, when you're thinking about Romping Shop and all songs like that, which are great songs, but it just became where each artist wanted to outdo the last.
Yes.
And a man might say, well, everyone who grows up in their era will always say their music is the best. If that's the case, I never grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1987. I was still under my parents' control in the 90s. I grew up in the 2000s. So we're talking 2000. I left school in 2003. So 2004 I left school. So you gotta think that those were the songs that were coming out of then are what I remember. Mm-hmm. But the 90s was an era where love, family, upliftment,
yes,
you could find that in dancehall. I'm not saying reggae, you know, because reggae was made for upliftment.
Exactly.
But in dancehall, that was something that you could throw a tune in. I remember Zebra. My man had bare tunes with enough messages in. Right Type of Love. Selassie I Sent Me to Warn. All these kind of songs were serious. Where my man's talking about, I'll give you a look right now. My man used to basically have bars that were telling people, yo, be careful how you move in the kind of energy. And it's cool for the bad man lyrics at times, you know. There is place for that.
Yep.
But it shouldn't be at the forefront. And that's what ruined dancehall. It's absolutely, man started following Chicago. Skilly Bang loves King Von and Little Dirk and them, man. And you can tell that by the way the videos are shot. And that's why they are no longer they're not producing the hits. They're not, no, the spotlight's gone. Even though people might say, oh, nah, Jamaica is still the creators. Yeah, they are still the creators, but who cares? It's like what did Cameron say? I don't know who invented the toilet, I just shit in it. And that's what humans are like. So you got to think, if you look at like the Trinis now, that's where it's going, you know. The Trinidad dancehall is similar to the dancehall that was being made in the 90s. Don't get it twisted, they're very violent there, but they've got the right sound. And a lot of people are looking at the Trinidad movement, because that's what it's called. For them, a lot of people are going there. If you look at the artists, they're outdoing the Jamaican artists by 10 to 1.
10 to 1, yeah, I was about to say.
That's how it's run. And that happened because man stopped the upliftment talk. Afro beats now, that's happy, feel good, and that's gonna go to a level that ain't even operating nowhere near the level that it's going to be. Where that's going to go, even though it's massive right now, but where it's going, trust me. And even when you look at the J Hus song that just come out the other day, you heard it, Noble?
No.
J Hus and Drake. It's called Who Said That Bad Man Don't Dance, or something like that. It's an Afrobeat song. I love the song still, but it's happy, dancey, happy. You can play that and children are about. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dancehall, that's why they are where they're at now.